Brisbane had always been a bit of a do-it-yourself city, and if you wanted to get something done, you had to get off your bum and do it yourself. But the joy of that, though, was that you also had the opportunity to do it. I think how Jock and C started, for example, the story's become quite legendary. How they got their little small grant to get started, but basically they built that venue just because they wanted to build it. And as I say, it wasn't a council initiative or development trying to clean up the valley. It was people coming in wanting to do things down there and re-energise these spaces that had been sat vacant for a long, long time. I know when I first went down there, my mum was quite concerned because the valley had a bit of a reputation for being tough. But the more that people inhabited it, the safer it became. It became busier, and then all of a sudden, it was just a wonderful, vibrant place to be.
Hi, I'm Sissy. I've worked at the zoo for 4 years now, but I have the privilege and the honour to be the niece of Jock Curran, who founded the zoo in 1992. I've worked at the zoo for about 4 years, behind the bar, on the door, and it's been like the best 4 years of my life. It's just the most wonderful job in the world, and I've seen so many connections made. I've made so many connections myself, and it's just such a wonderful place. These tiles that are stuck to the stairs all the way along here were done, I'm not sure how many years ago, but if you walk up the zoo stairs, you'll notice that they're all names or businesses. For example, what have we got here? Pod Records and the Tooth Fairies, so bands as well. The one fourth from the bottom is Kai and Nico, my parents, but pretty much these are all of the people who have made this place special. ISIS, a very important, iconic Brisbane band. I'll show you the ladies' bathroom. It's very important. So, if you have never been in here, unlucky, because this is a mirror made by Marcia, who is very important to the zoo. She made this herself, painted it. She's also the person who made the zoo logo, painted up the very iconic zoo, and she had a lot of impact on the art that is in this place. Also, this wall of posters is very iconic as well. A lot of the art that started the zoo, that had been there all the way till Jockey sold it in 2016, is what really makes this place a home. But when Shane, Boo and Kat took over, this is something that I really love that they did, and which I think a lot of people who come into the zoo really love that they did. This glitter bathroom floor is so good, especially if you're really fucked up. So once the zoo was passed over from Jock to Pixie in 2016, Pixie took the zoo theme a little bit more literally. So we got the elephant, we got all of this kind of jungle core kind of stuff. There's a giraffe. What else have we got? A giraffe, a monkey, and then there's a pelican. What else have we got? Bats. There's a little parrot. Anything else I'm missing? And oh, that's everyone's favorite, the little cheetah up on the bar. What I really love about the zoo, I've been working behind the bar for almost 4 years now, but what I've realized is that we have a very loyal group of people who attend the zoo regularly, and I would say that our main audience is like old punks, people who feel nostalgia and have always felt welcome and at home at the zoo. But we also have, so they're our main ride or dies, but we also have a really beautiful young scene of 20 to 35-year-olds, typically like indie rock, who frequent here almost as regularly as the old punks. but it's really beautiful for me as a bartender to have such a diverse group of people who frequent this place. It feels like it's a home to a lot of people, and it always has been that way. Cedric Ingra, who did the acknowledgement of country on Zoo Love the other day, talked about how this place has always been diverse and inclusive, and people of all kind, everyone feels welcome at the zoo. And you know, I'm really proud of that, and I think anyone who frequents this place or who's worked at this place feels really proud of that too. Welcome to the band room. This is backstage of the zoo, and in here is our band room, which in all reality is not quite as fancy as a lot of other venues. And we've had this Ben's Burger grease tray that sits right under our band room. So if you've ever smelt a stench in here, I promise it's not us, but nevertheless, you might acknowledge that there's a stench in here. But that's okay, because you're playing the zoo. If somebody asked who's a Brisbane band, you'd literally just have to show them this wall. And this is like everybody that you could ever think of has put their sticker on here. It's a very important wall. It's pretty overwhelming when you come out here, because I think that it's quite a thing. If you play the zoo, you're gonna write down your name or put your sticker on the wall. But when you come here, it's like a sensory overload. There is so much. But you know, there's things, this venue's been open since '92. So there is many, many years worth of tags on this wall, and it's very special. They used to serve curries here, you know. Did you hear that story? They had to have food on their license, so Jock and the team got really good at making like a massive serve of curries, or you had to eat a curry or eat something before you could drink your beers. So that's the zoo that a lot of people remember from back in the day. There has been like a presence at the zoo the whole time, from when Jock ran this place to now when I'm here. But it's not ghosts. I wouldn't say ghosts, it's spirits, because they're not menacing and they're not trying to scare you. But even if you're a non-believer, which is a lot of people in this workplace, there is like something here that just doesn't make sense. And out of the corner of your eye, there are just things coming across the stage all the time. I don't feel nervous or scared, but there's definitely something, and there's definitely something here. But Jock has said that these aren't negative, they're just caught. They're caught in this place. And I feel like all of the love that is in this venue has made it so that those spirits aren't so trapped and are willingly here. This is the wackest story I know about the zoo. The zoo was struck by lightning back in the day, and the insurance company, they had insurance, they said to the insurance company, bought it in because everything got frazzled and fried, all of the equipment. And when they brought that case to the insurance company said, "We can't cover you because that's an act of God." What the fuck? But the zoo stayed alive a lot. Like, this is not the first time the zoo's life has been threatened, you know? Jock, it was not some millionaire. She didn't have money. She was just an artist who had a vision, you know? And so this place has had to rely on the support of the community to keep it alive so many times in the past. And Jock she won't tell you this because she's humble, but she's like she's a really good, kind person. So she always used this place and her power in this place to fundraise for people in need. She used the platform of the zoo to do good in her community, and that's something she always worked towards.
I think the zoo has endured for 32 years because it was originally built by community and love, and that has been the bones, the ethos of the space the whole time. So I am only one of the custodians of the zoo. There's been 6 custodians. I started the zoo myself with my co-founder C. Smith, and we were both 2 independent female photographers. And then we had it for 24 years and then passed it on to Pixie Wayand, and she had it for 4 years. And then it got passed on to Shane, Boo and Kat, and then Shane is the sole custodian at the moment. Yeah. I wanted it to be, I could have gone, all like sort of bigger names, but then I thought about everything that I love about the zoo, and it's always about the community and the zooies, the people who work at the zoo, who love the zoo. So then I ruminated and I thought about it for a little while, and then I went, no, I want it to be a complete celebration about all the people who have given their heart and soul. And so I made it all about the zooies. So I think out of the 24 acts that appeared on the stage, 22 of them had ex-staff members and current staff members. So it was just about a celebration of the space and the people within the space. That was what the night was meant to be. And I wanted to do everything that I loved in the space and everybody that had meant something. Like we had these really long-standing programs, like we had country and western for like 8 years. We had ether for 5 years. We had dub sessions for 8 years. So I invited all of those people to come back and collaborate and be part of it. So that was really special that they all could. And the only people that weren't on the bill were people who physically were playing somewhere else in the world. And so they were a little heartbroken, but they knew that, the spirit was with us. They were with us on the night.
Let's ride with the choppers.
When I was growing up, I was probably seen to be, I didn't fit into the sort of normal mold. I was seen to be a bit, not eccentric, but we were creative. And so it was a space created for art and music lovers. And if you loved art and music, maybe there weren't many venues that you could see yourself in. But then when you walked up the stairs, it wasn't ageist. It wasn't, everybody was welcome. On the doors, etched in there is all welcome, and it's been true for the whole 32 years. There's no dress code. It's like if you love music and you walk up those stairs, it doesn't matter if you were 18 or you were 90, you're always welcome. You're always treated with respect. And everybody that went in there had that feeling. So I think it's really important to have a space where people can belong. You might feel outside the box or that you don't quite fit in somewhere else. But if there's a space where you can walk in and you belong, everybody should be able to have that feeling in their life. I I think the zoo was a home, and when we talk about the zoo, it's not like it's mine, it's ours. Like, the staff used to feel like that. I think all of Brisbane feels like the zoo is theirs. Like, we're all custodians of the space. Like, I just feel as though I was meant to bring it to life, and it had its own life. You know, I was just steering it along.
Been running venues for quite a while, which is how I first got connected with the zoo. Around that time, that kind of late 80s, the centre of the city was probably where all the action was, where the clubs were, and the valley was starting to emerge with a few clubs. But it also happened around the same time of the alternative music scene, of grunge music coming through, around 1990. We were running, at the time, we had 2 pubs in town, one of them which was a venue called Metropolis, which was this sort of 1,000 square metres in the bowels of the Maya Centre. And this was when there was a few things starting to happen in the valley. We had like 6 months bookings in our back pocket. We knew that Jock and C were starting to try and get something happening in the valley. There was a bit of interest going on. I think the Bickles had just bought the Empire and the Royal George Hotel, or the Brunswick Hotel, rather. And so people were starting to look for somewhere slightly different to being in the city, where it was quite straight, chambray shirts, iron jeans, that sort of thing. So we launched, I think, Christmas 92, which is around about the same time that Jock and C were doing their thing. And the difference, of course, we were a larger for hire venue, whereas Jock and C were creating this amazing like little community space, but still with that same sort of alternative music for people that were sort of starting to migrate out of the city, looking for somewhere where they felt like they fitted in a little bit better. So that's how we first connected, through doing venues in the valley.
I remember the first time I played at the zoo, I was playing in a band called Passion Fruit, and I remember it being and feeling like quite the rite of passage, moving up through the smaller venues, and the zoo was this, great big venue that I was like pretty stoked to play as, being a burgeoning bass player at the time, just picked up the instrument, and like in comparison to all the gigs that I played before that for the first time, I remember hopping on and going like, holy shit, this is like the real deal,
Yeah.
Definitely being like quite a small fish. Like, the zoo makes you feel like, you're worth more, I guess.
My name's Troy. I play in Great Sage, that's my main project, and I also play in Nice Biscuit. Been playing in Brisbane probably since 2016, started out. It's been fun, until now. Yeah, I think it's one of the few remaining places that focuses specifically on live entertainment, and not having like a side hustle as a bar or a dance floor at night or anything like that. It's like the final place where you can go and just see a band, that isn't the size of the Tivoli or the Princess or something like that. And it's also, as a band that's coming up, it's so wonderful to have a space like, the side green room where you can hang out and you don't have to go out and mingle after a stressful performance of your first time playing. It's really special for that. There's nothing else like it in Brisbane, to be honest.
My name's Kim Ambrose. I've been working in the business since I was probably 13, 14 years old, doing gigs. I came to Brisbane in '95 and then started playing at the zoo. I think '97, '98 was the the year we played. And I'd heard about the zoo and I knew it was a great place, and I thought I was very cool because I was playing there and I was in my 30s, because it was sort of a younger place, but such a unique place, I think, for people to come and play, and from anywhere, any type of music. So I just remember it was extremely hot because we played over January, like December to February and March and stuff, and just lugging the gear up those back stairs, doing 4 trips and then setting it up and stuff. And so that was a big introduction to a Brisbane summer. But the people that were there were fantastic. Everyone was chilled out. It's just an easy-going venue. There's no idiots. Everyone just came to listen to music and enjoy it. Going to see Melbourne bands that came up here and all wearing 3-piece suits in January. was just hilarious. They were thinking, well, this is what we wear in Melbourne. I was like, okay, well, give it a go. But just a variety of music. You could do jazz gigs, we did sort of country, gospel gigs, there's full-on rock gigs, heavy metal, everything. From vocalists to duos to 10-piece, 12-piece bands, big bands, everything. I don't think there's any type of music that was never played at the zoo at least once.
When most bands start, they start with no financial base or very little financial base. So the first thing they probably do to find some sense of being and maybe progress is to engage with community. Because I suppose that gives them opportunity to, well, meet other people, but play together. And that, in a sense, is what the zoo, from my past experience, provided a very clear and definite platform for community engagement with musicians and creative people, full stop. So without that and without any financial base, you're kind of like, it's very tricky how to develop something, beyond just a rehearsal room. So I suppose that's what venues like the zoo very specifically offered, but also built itself from as well, because there was a flocking towards it. There were already people around it. I mean, Jock and C came from bands as well, so they already had that kind of engagement starting to happen, and it just kind of grew from there. So it's something like the zoo, what it offered was highly vital in regards to developing that kind of community sphere of interaction.
Oh, what's up? Now what's happening today? How we doing? Not enough fun, all that. How we doing? We're gonna start off like this, right? I need you to sing it for me. I need to hear it one time. Let's go. I am a sinner. Say words. See from 2 planets away. 1, 2. Everybody take a stand. I'm trying to keep her alive and not compromise the feeling we love. You're trying stages. To me, that's amazing. To you, that's a quick pick with all disrespect. Let me say this. I say I am the sinner who's probably gonna sin again. I love it.
That show felt unreal. We were working on the show for a really long time, and we managed to pull it off. There was a lot of things going on it. There was tracks, there was live arrangements, there was a lot of lyrics that needed to be learned. They got learnt, tracks killed it, and the band unleashed their full potential. So it was unreal for it to come to fruition. I got asked to play here with a very, very close personal friend of mine, Ruby Turner, Ruby Jo. She gave me my first opportunity to play in this space, and I was like a lot taller, and I was like, this is what live performance is all about. It's about iconic venues such as this, providing a place for people to speak, for vibes to be had, for music to be played, for memories to be made. And I've made a ton of memories here over the 3 years that I've been playing gigs here, and it's been amazing.
Street, people are losing their families. Ignore all you want, but it's happening. And we need to do something about it. Big corporations need to do something about it. Our government needs to do something about it. And nothing more is going to be done if some of us don't pick up the slack. Supporting those big corporations. Support venues like this. Bring fun to your life, but do it with a grain of salt because you know that someone is having a worse day than you.
I feel like losing a venue like the Zoo could most definitely silence protest. There's only so much that our government allows. There's a lot more that needs to be done, and I feel like by taking away a venue like the Zoo, which gives a platform for so many people to speak, so many people to bring forth their natural cultures, their thousands of years of teaching that may have been brought about. Cancelling and shutting down a venue like the Zoo completely removes a very important platform for people to speak on what's right in this world and what isn't.
I don't know. I think places like the Zoo are very distinctly breeding grounds.
No, very much so.
And highly necessary for like the pulsating kind of creative life of a city.
Everything's recycled or donated or community or someone we've like, oh, we need this and someone has helped us. We need that. And then, you know, a door will open, someone will walk in. I can do that. Do you know what I mean?
Places that we perform at regularly are really, really struggling to the point where they're doing fundraising campaigns to try and stay afloat and to pay the bands that are coming to play because their revenue is dropping, and tax and insurance costs are astronomical now. They are astronomical.
It wouldn't take much from council or government to keep that place running and have a hand in it or do something rather than wasting it on established venues that seem to be pouring lots of money into and not much return. So,
but now it's sort of like it's been like a sheer drop in government support, and I suppose that's what happens when an economy is collapsing. The first things to go are the good things, and the things you don't necessarily need in your life. Well, need is an interesting word, but yeah, it just sucks to be at the front end of the industries that are collapsing because of what's happening to our economy and our cost of being alive.
My name's Holstein Wong, and I'm running as the Greens candidate for McConnell in the upcoming state election in October. This is a petition that Stephen Bates and I started when we heard that the Zoo was closing to save live music venues, calling for the state government to step in, buy venues that could then be leased out to councils and non-profits to be run as publicly owned creative spaces. The arts are so important to Brisbane, especially to this area, to Fortitude Valley, and I think the government really needs to value that by putting in some tangible support. Venues like the Zoo and others that have closed recently, it's created all these ripple effects, especially for smaller artists, local bands who, you know, a lot of them have their first start at venues just like this.
A bit devastated that it's shutting down. It's like been around for about 35 years, I think. Parents went to it when they were kids. I've been going to it since I was, a youngin'. I played there a couple times with some cool bands. So, been through as I've grown up playing, a pretty essential part, I'd say, of the music scene. So a bit sad that's gone.
Small scale economy mentalities that very much parallel that kind of community orientation, which is probably why I got on so well and worked so effectively with the Zoo in the beginning, because I shared that same ethos innately, I suppose. I certainly gravitated towards it because of that. I mean, and that's what happens when you start something of that nature. That's how community works. There's a kind of flocking towards it.
Yeah. Well, I think that with the passing of the Zoo, something will emerge. Someone else will take on something. It won't look like the Zoo, it won't sound like the Zoo, it won't be a clone of the Zoo, it'll be whatever's relevant for now. Someone will find an unexplored space somewhere, someone will have some passion to say, look, I just want to see the stuff that I'm into, which is basically why we got into promoting. We just like being part of what was going on. A little bit sad that it's closing, but I think what we're sad about is that disconnection we have, I guess, from our past or reminiscing to our past.
If the zoo were a person or an, or an entity that could hear or understand, which I mean maybe it can. What would you want to say to the zoo at the end of its life?
Oh. That's a hard one.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I guess it's hard for me because it's like it's the last interview, and you know I've been holding it all together because just to get through each stage and allowing yourself time to grieve or say goodbye. I don't think I've done that yet. I haven't really thought about that, and I don't know that I ever will, because I don't feel like it will. It may not be in its current form, it mightn't exist there, but it's going to exist in everybody's hearts who's ever loved it. So it doesn't have to be a physical form, but anybody who's loved it will have those memories, and they'll know the way they felt when they were in that space, and they'll know like that they had their first kiss there, that they met their friends there, that they saw the first song that they loved, that, you know, that they had this emotional connection with this, and with this entity, with this space on 711 Ann Street, and how it made them feel, you know. And yeah.
Thank you for providing what you've needed to provide for anyone who has stepped foot in this venue. Thank you for providing memories. Thank you for providing first opportunities. Thank you for providing a platform to spread social messages, to spread vibes, to spread good energy to someone who may need it, to someone who is providing it themselves and may not feel supported, to someone who is just needing an extra push, someone who is needing an experience that is going to, quote unquote, change their lives. Yeah. Thank you, Zoo. Thank you.
Got some head on smoke last weekend. Dodging police working for his big homie. Small time hustler graduated to the brick on it. 10,000 hours out of the project housing. That's on the daily since first meal, 20 years old. Had a couple of babies.